Hello, it's Jen from Windrose Fiber Studio. Today we're going to crochet a classic pocketbook and decorate it with a poppy flower. For this project, you'll need 2 skeins of Lion Brand's basic stitch as well as 1 skein of an accent color. We're using a 6mm crochet hook, have scissors, a yarn needle, and a stitch marker handy, as well as a 1-inch shank style button. I have a gauge for you as well as some helpful links in the description below. Let's jump right into the pattern for the classic pocketbook. We are going to be carrying 2 strands of yarn throughout this project. Begin by chaining 31 loosely. You can see that I'm elongating these chains just a little bit as I make them. The reason for this loose chain is because we're going to be working both into these back bumps, and then we're going to go back around and work into the front of the chain. This is why we want our chain to be a little bit on the loose side. I am going to go ahead and time travel to the end of this beginning chain. You can see that the chain laying down, not under any tension, is measuring about 10.5 inches. This is the perfect time to double check your stitch count, and you will thank yourself later if your beginning chain is not too tight. Here we are at round 1. We're going to be working across the back bumps, and you'll start by working a half double crochet into the second chain from your hook. So find that second chain, turn it over, work into the back bump. Remember to work a half double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Take a moment here and mark this stitch as the first stitch of round 1. If you don't have stitch markers, a scrap piece of yarn will work just as well. Now we can carry on and work 1 half double crochet in each stitch across. Remember, at the beginning of round 1, we're working into the back bumps of the beginning chain. I have sped things along here, and I am finishing up these back bumps. I've got 1 more half double crochet to go. There should be a total of 30 stitches from that first marked stitch all the way to that last back bump. Now we're going to continue round 1 by working back across that beginning chain. So now we're going to be working into the front or the top of those stitches. Notice that I'm turning my work so that the beginning tail is behind my fabric. Now we're going to be working 1 half double crochet into each chain across. The classic pocketbook is designed to have very clean lines, so the corners on the first couple of rounds are going to feel tight, but they do get easier as you carry on with the project. Take your time and make sure you're putting 1 half double crochet into each chain stitch across. This is when you're going to be thanking yourself for making that beginning chain a little bit loose. It's just so much easier. It would not be a big deal to go back and rework that beginning chain if you're struggling to get your crochet hook into these stitches. Here I'm just pausing to show you how the first corner of our pocketbook is forming. The right side of the pocketbook is facing us as we crochet. That beginning tail should be on the wrong side of the pocketbook. I'm just going to carry on and finish up round 1. Here I am working the very last half double crochet of round 1. Here's our first stitch right here, marked by our stitch marker. Next to that is the chain that we skipped, and then we have our last half double crochet of the round. Round 1 has a total of 60 stitches. It's a really good idea to count your stitches and make sure that you're heading into round 2 and the rest of this project with the correct stitch count. For rounds 2 through 8, the directions are the same. You'll start by working a half double crochet in the first stitch. Remember, this is the opposite corner, so these stitches are going to feel a little bit tight. Now remove that stitch marker and replace it in the stitch that you just made. When working in the round, it's extremely helpful to mark the first stitch of each round. Now we can carry on with round 2 by working a half double crochet in each stitch around. I'm slowing down as I get to the opposite corner just so that we can look at another corner together. The main thing you want to concern yourself with as you're working around these tight corners is just to make sure that you don't end up with gaps between your stitches. You may need to adjust your yarn tension just a little bit as you're working your way around these curves. Let me take my hook out and let's have a closer look at this corner. You can see the fabric is curving towards me. I'm going to curve it away. Once again, the right side of our work is facing us as we crochet. You can see that the corners of this purse form close to a right angle, so they are very sharp corners for crocheted fabric. I'm going to jump back in and finish off round 2. To begin the next round, we just follow these same directions. You're going to work a half double crochet in the first stitch. It will always be a marked stitch. Then you remove that stitch marker and mark the first stitch of the next round. And then you'll simply work a half double crochet in each stitch around. Rounds 2 through 8 each have a total of 60 stitches. I'm going to do some crocheting off camera and I will meet back up with you at the end of round 8. Hello again, and here are rounds 1 through 8. You can see I'm doing a quick count before I move into round 9. We're going to be working round 9 in our accent color, and the instructions clearly said to change to this color at the end of round 8. So I'm taking out the very last stitch I made and I'm reworking that half double crochet, and with the last yarn over pull through 3, I'm introducing my accent color. Please note that we're also carrying 2 strands of the accent color, and I didn't cut off the main color. We're going to be reintroducing that at the end of this round. Round 9 is going to be a round of cross stitches worked in double crochet. And here's how we're going to make that happen. You're going to skip the first stitch and then you're going to double crochet in the next stitch. Go ahead and mark that stitch as the first stitch of the round, and then you're going to go back and work a double crochet in the stitch that you skipped. This is going to force these 2 double crochets to cross over each other, thus the name of the stitch. The repeating pattern for round 9 is to skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, and then to double crochet in the skip stitch. Go back to the beginning of that repeat and work these cross stitches all the way around. Round 9 will have a total of 30 cross stitches, and on the very last yarn over pull through 2 of the very last cross stitch, we are going to change back to our main color. I just had a moment of worry. I don't want anyone to get confused by their stitch count. You are actually working a total of 60 double crochets. A cross stitch is formed by 2 double crochets, so that while there are 60 double crochets, there will be a total of 30 cross stitches. You probably didn't need me to explain that to you, but I get a little paranoid about making sure these voiceovers are as clear as possible. I really just want everyone to be able to navigate these patterns with ease. While I have been chatting, I have been crocheting, and I'm on my very last double crochet. For the last yarn over, I'm dropping the accent color and reintroducing the main color. Round 9 is now complete. You can see I'm giving the ends of the yarn a little tug just to adjust the tension. It can kind of loosen up a little bit when you change colors like that. And now we can dive into rounds 10 through 12. Rounds 10 through 12 are worked with the main color, and they're just like rounds 2 through 8. We're just going to be working a half double crochet in each stitch around, and each round will have a total of 60 stitches. I'm still taking the time to mark my first stitch of each round, and then I'm just going to go ahead and carry on and work these rounds of half double crochet. Okay, I haven't gotten very far and I've already decided to take a mini break, and this is just for a little bit of yarn management. I have cut off the excess of the accent color and then tied those ends with an overhand knot and tucked them neatly behind my work. You can weave them in or cut them short, either is fine. I also wanted to let you know not to worry about the beginning and ending of the accent row not lining up, because this is exactly where we're going to place our flower. I like to make my cross stitch round in the same color as my flower. Now it's time to get back into our crochet and working rounds 10 through 12, and I will meet you at the end of round 12. Here we are 12 rounds in, and the bottom of the bag is complete. There's round 9, 10, 11, and 12. The bottom of the bag is very much a rectangle, and from this point forward, we're going to start our decrease rounds, and that's really going to shape the top of the bag. So let's walk through round 13 together. It begins with a half double crochet in the first stitch, and then, of course, I'm going to stop and I'm going to mark that first stitch. Continuing on, we're going to work 5 more half double crochets, 1 in each stitch. You can see that now we've reached the side of the bag, and here we're going to work a half double crochet decrease. To do so, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 5 loops on your hook. Next, we're going to work 28 half double crochets across the back of the bag. It's at this point that we're going to be doing a little more counting. It will be extremely helpful if you haven't been already to mark that first stitch of each round. I've just finished that 28th half double crochet, and now I'm going to work a half double crochet decrease on this side of the bag. Now we're going to work 22 more half double crochets. This will complete round 13. Round 13 has a total of 58 stitches, 28 half double crochets on the front and back of the purse with a decrease on each side. Here we are finishing up round 13. If we take a quick look at our pocketbook, you can see even just with that first decrease round, the sides of the purse are starting to angle inward. For round 14, once again we're going to start with a half double crochet, and then we're going to mark that first stitch. Now we're going to work 3 more half double crochets. Here's 1, 2, and 3. And then to work our way around this side, we're going to work a half double crochet decrease, and then 1 half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to work another half double crochet decrease. So we've got a decrease, a half double crochet, and a decrease, and now we're going to work 24 half double crochets across the back of our purse. When you get to the other side, once again, you're going to work a half double crochet decrease, and then a half double crochet, and then another half double crochet decrease, and then this round will be finished off by working 20 more half double crochets. There are a total of 54 stitches in round 14. There's going to be 24 half double crochets on the front and back of the purse with that decrease, half double crochet decrease on either side. So we've just finished up round 14 and we can have a moment and admire our work. Rounds 15 through 19 are worked in the same fashion, and I'm going to provide you with all of the instructions for those rounds. I took rounds 13 and 14 nice and slow so that you can see how these are working, and the only thing that really changes as we work rounds 15 through 19 is our stitch count. So I am going to have the instructions here for you. They're also in the description below for these 5 rounds, and then I'll meet you at the end of round 19. Okay, it definitely seems a little unfair that I'm already finished with round 19, but pause the video, take your time, and we'll continue on together. Round 20 is nice and easy. We're just going to work a half double crochet in the first stitch, mark that stitch, and then we'll work a half double crochet in each stitch around. Round 20 has a total of 40 stitches. This is the last round in the body of the bag, but do not finish off. We're going to carry on with these 2 threads of our main color. Here we are working the very last stitch of round 20, and now it's time to move on to the strap of our purse. For row 1, we're going to single crochet in each of the next 9 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and mark my first stitch as I have been doing. Note that we have switched from half double crochet to single crochet. We've made our first single crochet, and now we need to make 8 more. Before I chain 1 and turn, I just wanted to show you the bag. So our strap is going to consist of 4 stitches working back and forth, and so the last 4 stitches of row 1 should line up right along the side of the bag. So now I'm just going to pop my crochet hook back in and chain 1 and turn, and we can move on to row 2. For rows 2 through 49, you're going to single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches and then chain 1 and turn. If you choose to do 49 rows, as I am doing here, your shoulder strap will be about 19 inches long. Keep in mind that there's always a little bit of stretch in a crocheted purse strap. If you choose to make your strap longer or shorter than the one I'm making, finish on an odd-numbered row. This is your opportunity to personalize your pocketbook. I am making mine so that it can be worn as a short shoulder bag. It's also a short enough handle that it's comfortable just to carry it in your hand or over your forearm. I have just finished my strap. You can see that right now the front side of the pocketbook is facing us. I'm going to go ahead and flip the purse over so that the back side is now facing us. And starting from the beginning of the strap, I'm going to count 16 stitches across the back of the bag. We're going to skip these stitches. So I've just counted 16, and I'm going to place a stitch marker into the 17th stitch. This is going to be the first stitch I use to attach the strap to my purse. Being careful not to have any twist in your strap, the wrong side of the strap should be facing you as you single crochet it onto the pocketbook. I'm going to be working a single crochet across the 4 stitches of the strap and across the corresponding stitches on the pocketbook. So there'll just be 4 stitches. Each of these will go through the strap and the pocketbook to attach the strap to the bag. Double check and make sure you didn't accidentally put a twist in your purse strap before we move on to our next step. Just as we skipped 16 stitches on the back of the bag, there should be 16 stitches across the front of the bag, and we're going to start our front edging by working a single crochet into each of these 16 stitches. So you're simply working 16 stitches across the front of the bag. And then working evenly around the front of the strap and working into the end rows, we're going to work 48 single crochets around the strap. If you happen to make your strap longer or shorter, you're simply going to be placing 1 single crochet into the edge of each row. Once you work your way all the way around, you can finally go ahead and cut that working yarn. You can see I just pulled on my crochet hook to pull those loose ends through the last stitch, and now I'm threading a yarn needle. We're going to finish this with an invisible finish off. I have a link for how to do this in the description below. To do an invisible finish off, you'll skip the next stitch on the front edging and work your needle under both the front and back loops of the next stitch. Then you go back to the last stitch that you made and you go between the front and back loops, top down through that last stitch, and also pick up that thread just behind the last stitch. Pull on the yarn and it forms the look of a stitch and gives you a very seamless finish. Then you can go ahead and weave in any and all loose ends. The front of our pocketbook is looking very finished, but there is something missing. We need to crochet a flap that we'll be using to close our purse. Go ahead and turn your pocketbook over so that the back of the pocketbook is facing. For row 1 of the flap, we're going to join with a single crochet in the next stitch to the shoulder strap. To join with a single crochet, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And now we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. There will be a total of 16 stitches in row 1, and then you'll chain 1 and turn. You can see that we have just 2 stitches left in this first row of the flap, so we'll complete those 2 stitches. And then chain 1 and turn our work. For row 2, you'll start by working a single crochet in the first stitch. Next, we'll work a single crochet decrease. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. After that decrease, you're going to work 10 single crochets across. There should be 3 stitches remaining, and you're going to work another one of those single crochet decreases. And then into the last stitch, we work a single crochet. At the end of row 2, chain 1 and turn. Here we are at row 3. For row 3, you're going to work a single crochet into each stitch across and then chain 1 and turn. Row 3 will have a total of 14 stitches. Before you know it, we're on to row 4. For row 4, you're going to single crochet in the first stitch, then work a single crochet decrease. Next, you'll work 8 single crochets across. And then you're going to work another single crochet decrease. And then single crochet in that last stitch, chain 1 and turn. Those decrease rows will allow the edges of the flap to angle in just a little bit. And now for rows 5 through 10, we're simply going to be working 1 single crochet in each stitch across, chain 1 and turn. Each of these rows will have a total of 12 stitches. Throughout crochet projects, you will often see me stop and double check my stitch count, or in this case, my row count. We have just finished row 10. If we turn our pocketbook over and pull the flap through, you can see how nicely it fits between the strap. Our next step is to give this flap a buttonhole. The button will be sewn onto the body of the purse, and I like to position the button 2 inches down from the top edge, so we're right about at that 2-inch mark. Row 11 of the flap is the buttonhole row. You'll start by working a single crochet into the first stitch, and then a single crochet decrease. After that, you'll work a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And then you're going to chain 2. And you're going to skip the next 2 stitches. Then you'll work a single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And then you work a single crochet decrease and a single crochet in that last stitch, chain 1 and turn. Before I move on, I'm grabbing my 1-inch shank style button and just making sure that it fits easily through my buttonhole. With that, I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn my work. For row 12, we're going to work a single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. And then we're going to work 2 single crochets in that chain 2 space. Finally, you'll work a single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and that will bring us to the end of row 12. Row 12 will have a total of 10 stitches, and then you'll chain 1 and turn. For row 13, you'll start by working a single crochet into the first stitch, and then make a single crochet decrease. Now, work a single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches, and then you'll work another single crochet decrease, single crochet in that last stitch, and then chain 1 and turn. Row 13 has a total of 8 stitches. For row 14, you're going to skip the first stitch and then work a single crochet in the next stitch. After that, you'll work a single crochet decrease, and then work another single crochet decrease. You're going to skip that next stitch and work a single crochet into the last stitch, chain 1 and turn. Row 14 has a total of 4 stitches. Now it's time to edge the flap and the back of the purse strap. We're going to start by working 4 single crochets across the end of the flap, 1 in each stitch. Now the flap has 14 rows and that last row is worked into row 13. So starting from row 12, we're going to work 12 single crochets evenly down the side of the flap. So 1 for each of the 12 first end rows. After working those 12 single crochets, we're going to start working our 48 single crochets evenly around the back of the strap. I am going to go ahead and time travel and get us to the other side of this strap. And once you work your last single crochet into that last edge of the strap, you're going to work 12 single crochets evenly back up the other side of the flap. Once you've worked these 12 single crochets, you can go ahead and cut your working yarn, pull the cut in through, and now I'm going to work another one of those invisible finish offs. After this point, you can weave in any and all remaining loose ends. We are so close to having a completed pocketbook, but before we can say that we're all done, we need to attach our button. Remember, we want to attach this button about 2 inches down from the top. You can see I'm making a minor adjustment there to make sure it's 2 inches down. And now I'm taking a moment to count the stitches on either side of my stitch marker and making one more minor adjustment. I want to center this button in the middle of the bag, 2 inches down from the top edge. Now I'm just going to thread a regular large eye needle with 1 strand of yarn and use that to go several times around the fabric and the loop of the button. At the beginning of this video, I talked about using a shank style button. This is just a button that has a single hole at the back of the button. I'm going to go ahead and loop around about 4 or 5 times and just make sure I have a really secure hold. Once I'm satisfied, I'm going to go ahead and pass the needle through to the wrong side of the work and then just tie both ends in a square knot and trim off the excess yarn. Remember, a square knot is to tie right over left and then left over right. Here we are, we have our completed pocketbook. So satisfying to work our little button through the buttonhole that we made. I'm curious to know how long you made your purse strap, so if you decided to go with a longer or a shorter strap, let me know in the comments below. The top opening is about 6 inches or 15 centimeters wide. The strap has a very nice finished look to it, and the icing on the cake is the poppy flower. I have included a link for the poppy flower tutorial in the description below. I'm also going to tag it to the outro of this video. Before I leave you today, I just want to show you where and how I attach the flower to the bag. I line up the center of the poppy to the stripe on the bag, and then I just use the tail ends of the poppy flower to attach the flower to the bag. There is definitely more than one way that you can do this. I'm using my crochet hook as a tool, and I'm pulling the loose ends through the fabric and back up to the right side. And then I'm just tying 3 or 4 square knots underneath the flower to hold it in place. Then I can trim off the excess loose ends. I have a third loose end that I'm going to use to tack down the petals. It's a very large flower, so it really helps to tack those petals down in 2 or 3 places. Of course, you can decorate your pocketbook with any flower you fancy. You can also make this pocketbook without a stripe or any flower at all when you get to round 9, just to continue to work rounds of half double crochet all the way up the body of the purse. Here I am showing you the completed measurements before we take just a moment to admire the completed classic pocketbook. I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you enjoy making it your own. I have made one of these out of recycled sari silk and skipped the flower, and it was so pretty. So this could be a great project to showcase just a really beautiful yarn. Thank you so much for watching today. Please hit like and subscribe so that you never miss a video. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.